The legend goes that God died of old age, and so with his long white hair, flowing robes, and arthritis, he went up to heaven, which was a very busy place, and he banged on the pearly gates to be let in. St. Peter answered and said, "What do you want?" "I want to come in," said God. "Why?" said St. Peter. "Because I'm God," said God. St. Peter had to think about this for a bit, and then he said, "Hang on, I'll go have a look at the rules to see what they say about this kind of situation." And with that said, he went off to look at the rule book and left God kicking his heels. When St. Peter came back, he said, "There's nothing in the rule book about letting you in," said St. Peter from behind the gates. "But I'm God, and if you don't let me in, I'll roast you," said God, becoming annoyed. "You've just failed the test," said St. Peter. "Only him down below roasts people, so you can't be God." They both had to think about this for a bit, and after a long spell of silence, St. Peter said, "Are you still there?" "Of course I'm still here," said God. "Where else would I be?" "I thought you might have gone for a coffee," said St. Peter, still behind the pearly gates. "Let me in," demanded God in his most stern voice. "No," said St. Peter. "Why ever not?" asked God, trying to decide if he should plead. "This is too peculiar and is not a decision I can make on my own. I'll have to go higher up," said St. Peter, beginning to wonder if he was making a mistake. "But there's no one higher up than you, but me," said God, perplexed. "But how do I know you're God? You might be him from down below in disguise," said St. Peter. "But it's really me," said God tiredly. "Then where's your key to get in?" said St. Peter brightly, thinking he had the answer. "I left it down on earth with the rest of my stuff," said God. "Sorry, but you're going to have to prove you're God," said St. Peter, determined not to let in the strange old man. "But that would be breaking my own rules," said God. "Well, until or unless you do, I can't let you in," said St. Peter, walking off and leaving the old man to rattle the gates in vain. After a while, God calmed down and knew he wasn't getting into heaven, at least not right then, so he went off to find somewhere to think what he was going to do about this absurd situation he was in. God was feeling a little bit desperate and a little bit down being so alone with no one to talk to about it all, so he went for a walk and found himself at the tomb of hell. So he said, "What the hell?" and rang the doorbell. Old Nick himself came to the door and opened it and looked at God, who was feeling sorry for himself. "We're closed," said old Nick. "Well, I don't think I want to come in anyway," said God, and turned away to go off by himself. The Prozac machine was working overtime to make enough Prozac to fill the growing demand from all the people of the world who were waking up and in pain, but didn't know what was going on, and so went to their doctors to complain, and were being given Prozac to put them back to sleep again. The Prozac machine had many attendants who were given free Prozac for their Herculean efforts to keep it going. The factories around the world were groaning with underpaid workers who were churning out stuff to fill the burgeoning need for stuff. Governments were growing more powerful by the day and paying themselves huge wages and living behind tall fences to keep them apart from the consumers that they said would kill them dead if they came in contact with them. Greed, fear, power, and control were raging out of control all over the world, and the answer to it all was Prozac, to be given to the masses to dumb them down. So day after day, the Prozac machine kept churning out the Prozac. By now it had got too powerful to be stopped, and the Prozac made everyone so stupid they did not care.